Welcome to Earth and Kind Quests. My name is Mike. In this episode of Nemesis Battles, a Fiend Warlock defends her magical lair against a siege by an Evoker Wizard with 4 Earth Elementals. The Fiend Warlock is at level 15, while the Evoker Wizard is at level 9, using the rules in the 2024 Player's Handbook of Dungeons & Dragons. The Wizard commands 4 Earth Elementals, presented as challenge rating 5 creatures in the 2025 Monster Manual. As with all of the episodes of Nemesis Battles, I will clarify what happens with the game mechanics and the story narrative while demonstrating in the 3D world builder and virtual tabletop system of RPG stories. For extra details about the characters, in the video text description, you can find the web links for the character sheets in D&D Beyond. You will notice that the Warlock and the Wizard are optimized in some, but certainly not all of their aspects. The Infernal Tiefling Fiend Patron Warlock is named Blade Burns. She uses a Pact of the Blade, several other Eldritch invocations, and powerful spellcasting options as a level 15 Warlock. Additionally, Blade Burns has acquired a magical lair and 2 specialty magic items that I will describe later at the times whenever they might become relevant. The Warlock's Fiend Patron created a new fiendish contract requiring the Warlock to attack the Spellsword Academy. This event will cause fear and dread in the mortal realm, thereby increasing the Fiend's power within the Fiend's domain. Before launching the attack at the Spellsword Academy, the Warlock Blade Burns has been investing time with a few preparations. She obtained her current magical lair as a base of operations. She broke open the dreaded Dragon's Heart tomb, releasing a terrible corruptive energy into the surrounding lands and forcing the nearby farmers to flee from their homes and abandon their farmlands. They no longer could produce the food supply for the Spellsword Academy. Instead, they came to live around the Warlock's new lair. The Dragon's Heart tomb has been repaired and sealed once again. It no longer poses a threat, yet the Warlock already achieved her goal. Meanwhile, Blade Burns recruited a group of fishfolk or Kuotoa, currently busy with constructing something for the Warlock at the edge of a swamp that connects out to the Grand Ocean. Now at the magical lair, the Warlock Blade Burns is making her final preparations for the attack at the Spellsword Academy. The Cloud Giant Goliath, Evoker Wizard, is named Evoker. Due to her aggressive personality, she emphasizes damage-dealing spells. She is equipped with only some of the usually expected defensive and utility spells of a wizard. The wizard Evoker wanted to claim this magical lair as her own, but she found that someone else already was living here. Moreover, the magical defenses were too strong for the wizard to breach, even with her powerful spellcasting as a level 9 wizard. In this case, Evoker traveled to find a legendary magical item that could summon 4 Earth Elementals. In this way, the wizard plans to enact a siege at the magical lair and to claim this place as her own. Tonight, Evoker observes the magical lair. She contemplates how to approach a siege at this place. The displaced farmers established their camps around the perimeter. Soon they will begin to construct their formal housing and their farmlands. Throughout the night, more families arrive. Periodically, the Warlock Blade Burns reveals herself and announces that everyone will be welcome here to start a new life. The Evoker Wizard Evoker knows that the magical gem will summon 4 Earth Elementals for up to 1 hour. Perhaps she can instruct for the Elementals to attack at the 4 corners of the magical lair, thereby forcing the Warlock to spread out her defenses. All of the doorways, windows, and archways are protected with a powerful arcane lock that cannot be bypassed by any means other than by knowing the password that the Warlock creates secretly. The lair is protected against all incoming divination magic and all inbound teleportation. The only way to breach through the defenses would involve physically breaking through the structure. For this purpose, the Earth Elementals could be effective with their Siege Monster feature that generates double damage against structures and objects. Every 10-foot section of this magical structure comes with armor class of 20 and 120 hit points. With this knowledge, the Evoker Wizard Evoker feels confident that she made a wise decision about obtaining the gem to summon 4 Earth Elementals. The Earth Elementals are challenge rating 5 creatures as presented in the 2025 Monster Manual. The magical gem can summon 4 of these elementals that will obey all of the commands of the summoner. After 1 hour, or if they will be reduced to 0 hit points, then they will return to their home in the elemental plane of Earth. The summoning gem is destroyed during the process, and it cannot be used again. Evoker studies the battlefield, considering the various possibilities. Her primary concern right now is that she does not know about the current powers of the Warlock Blade Burns, or about whatever other defensive features could be hidden in here. The last time when the Wizard and the Warlock met, they both were at level 8. Now the Wizard has gained more powers at level 9, while the Warlock has gained extraordinary powers at level 15. Unknown to the Wizard, the Warlock obtained this lair through a combat against the magical guardian of this place. The Guardian Naga now obeys the commands of the Warlock as the attuned proprietor of this lair. The Guardian Naga will remain hidden within the interior area of the lair, and it will defend the place only if someone will intrude without the Warlock's express permission. The Guardian Naga is a challenge rating 10 creature in the 2025 Monster Manual, but this particular Naga is a legendary creature. It is equipped with extra spellcasting, legendary resistances, and legendary actions that I will clarify whenever they might become relevant. In the morning, the Warlock Blade Burns once again addresses the crowd of farmers. She promises a life of prosperity in this land. The Evoker Wizard Evoker prepares for the attack. She casts Mage Armor on herself with a first level spell slot, boosting her armor class for the next 8 hours. She casts Phantom Steed as a ritual spell, gaining a fast-moving magical steed. She summons her Owl Familiar as part of her Find Familiar spell. Now Evoker concentrates on the arcane energy of the magical gem. She breaks the gem and summons 4 earth elementals. These creatures will stay here for up to 1 hour. The Wizard commands the elementals to burrow beneath the ground, moving into their attack positions. Meanwhile, the Wizard remains at a safe distance for now. The burrowing feels like an earthquake rumbling through the area. The Warlock Blade Burns knows that an attack is imminent. She notices the Wizard standing at the distant hilltop. Blade Burns announces that she will protect this place and the people from whatever might happen here. All of the participants roll for initiative. The Warlock rolls 11. The Guardian Naga rolls 17. The Wizard rolls 8, and her Owl Familiar rolls 4. The 4 Earth Elementals roll 13, 7, 0, and 2. The Guardian Naga will act first, followed by 1 Earth Elemental, then the Warlock, the Wizard, another Earth Elemental, the Wizard's Owl Familiar, and then the final 2 Earth Elementals. The Wizard's Phantom Steed will act during the Wizard's turn as a controlled mount. In round 1, the Guardian Naga obeys the Warlock's command to remain hidden inside the lair. It will act only to defend the interior space. In this case, the Guardian Naga will use its legendary actions only when interacting with intruders in the interior space. 1 Earth Elemental burrows under the ground and emerges at a corner of the lair. It already used all of its movement to emerge here. In order to attack the wall of the structure, the Earth Elemental needs to use a ranged attack of a rock launch. It grabs 2 clumps of the ground and makes its 2 rock launch attacks at a single 10-foot section of the wall structure. Aiming against the structure's armor class of 20, the 2 attack rolls are 20 and 16. The 1 hit produces 9 bludgeoning damage, doubled with the siege monster trait up to 18 damage. This particular 10-foot section of the wall retains 102 of its total 120 hit points. The Fiend Warlock Blade Burns considers that her top priorities right now are to protect the lair and to ensure that the farmers will be unharmed. In this case, the Warlock will not move out to a distance to engage with the Wizard. Instead, she will remain here and preferably within public view. As a bonus action, Blade Burns casts the spell Jump on herself, without using a spell slot, instead using her Eldritch Invocation of the Otherworldly Leap to cast the spell at will. For the next 1 minute, once during each of her turns, the Warlock can use 10 feet of her movement to jump up to 30 feet. With this extra mobility, Blade Burns finds a spot with a clearer view of the surroundings. As her action, the Warlock casts Summon Fiend using her Mystic Arcanum 6th level spell slot. Up to the next 1 hour with the Warlock's concentration, a fiendish spirit appears in the Devil form, with armor class of 18, 40 hit points, a fly speed of 60 feet, Devil's Sight to see through magical darkness, and 3 fiery strike attacks that can be either melee or ranged attacks. The fiendish spirit acts with its turn immediately after the Warlock. It obeys all of the Warlock's commands. Blade Burns commands the fiendish spirit to attack the first elemental that is trying to breach through the structure. The fiendish spirit makes its 3 fiery strike attacks, aiming at the earth elemental's armor class of 17. The 3 attack rolls are 27, 15, and 27. With the 2 successful hits, the fiery strikes cause a total 34 fire damage. The Earth Elemental sustains the damage, and it appears to be uncaring about its condition. It retains 113 of its total 147 hit points. The Fiendish Spirit flies upward beyond the range of the Earth Elemental's rock launch attacks. The Evoker Wizard, Evoker, considers that she could throw fireballs at the farmers as a way either to distract the Warlock away from her lair or else to make the surviving farmers blame the Warlock for failing to defend them. Evoker decides against this option because she wants to occupy this lair and then bring the farmers into her own service. The wizard uses some of her movement to mount onto her Phantom Steed. She commands the Phantom Steed to use its dash action to move into a different location behind cover. I am interpreting that the tiny-sized owl familiar can ride along with the Phantom Steed. In this protected position, Evoker uses her bonus action to perceive through the senses of her owl familiar. The owl will act slightly later during the initiative order. The second Earth Elemental burrows beneath the ground and emerges at another corner of the structure. It makes 2 rock launch attacks, rolling 26 and 10 against the armor class of 20. The 1 successful hit causes 11 bludgeoning damage, doubled up to 22 with the Earth Elemental's Siege Monster feature. This 10-foot section of the structure retains 98 of its total 120 hit points. The Owl Familiar is the next to act. Currently, the wizard is perceiving through the owl's senses. The wizard commands for the owl to use its dash action to fly upwards and into a position with a reasonable view of the battle. In this way, the wizard can monitor the progress with the 4 Earth Elementals. The final 2 Earth Elementals burrow beneath the ground, repeating the same approach to attack at the different corners of the lair. 1 Earth Elemental makes its 2 rock launch attacks, aiming against the structure's armor class of 20. The 2 attack rolls are 23 and 16. The single successful hit produces 11 bludgeoning damage, doubled with the Siege Monster feature up to 22. This portion of the structure retains 98 of its total 120 hit points. The final Earth Elemental here makes its 2 rock launch attacks. The 2 attack rolls are 27 and 24, both hitting against the structure's armor class of 20. The 2 hits produce 18 bludgeoning damage, doubled with the Siege Monster feature up to 36. This portion of the structure retains 84 of its total 120 hit points. At the end of round 1, the siege has started and the Evoker Wizard is committed to this decision. For now, she waits in a safe place while monitoring the battle through the senses of her owl familiar. The 4 Earth Elementals have not yet moved close enough to make their slam attacks for the most damage against the structure of the lair. The Warlock Belay Burns will need to contend with the spread out positions of the Earth Elementals in 4 separate locations. The farmers observe the event, mostly concerned about whether or not they made a wise choice to abandon their previous homes and to come to live here. In round 2, the Guardian Naga remains hidden inside the structure. It will not act until another creature will intrude into the interior area. The Guardian Naga prepares a ready action to use its poisonous spittle against any unauthorized intruder entering within its range of 60 feet. If the triggering event will occur, then the Naga can use its reaction to complete the ready action. The first Earth Elemental moves forward to make 2 slam attacks directly at a damaged portion of the structure. Against the armor class of 20, the 2 attack rolls are 10 and 20. 1 hit produces 12 bludgeoning damage, doubled up to 24 with the Earth Elemental's Siege Monster feature. This particular wall section now retains only 78 of its total 120 hit points. The Warlock Belay Burns uses some of her movement to climb up the roof at half of her speed, and then she uses the final 10 feet of her movement to jump 30 feet with her active jump spell. In this new position, Belay Burns can see 2 of the Earth Elementals, and she can target both of them with a spell. The other 2 Earth Elementals are outside of her line of sight, and they are beyond the range of the spell that she wants to cast anyway. As her action, Belay Burns casts the spell Command with a 5th level Pact Magic spell slot. She could target up to 5 creatures that she can see within 60 feet of herself, but right now she can see only 2 of the Earth Elementals. She commands the intruders to flee. The Earth Elementals roll Wisdom saving throws to attempt to resist the command. They roll 13 and 13. They both fail the saving throw. During their next turns, these 2 Earth Elementals will need to use their actions to dash away from the Warlock, and they can do nothing else during their turns. The Warlock instructs the Fiendish Spirit to attack at a different Earth Elemental at the opposite side of the lair. The Fiendish Spirit flies over to gain a line of sight at this other target within the 150-foot range of making 3 fiery strikes. aiming against the armor class of 17. The 3 attack rolls are 15, 17, and 21. The 2 successful hits produce a total of 32 fire damage. This Earth Elemental now retains 115 of its total 147 hit points. The Evoker Wizard, Evoker, begins her turn no longer perceiving through the senses of her owl familiar. She has, though, perceived everything happening in the battle up to this point. She knows that the farther opposite side of the magical layer will be the most likely place of a breach, and she is impatient to start breaching into the layer. As her action, Evoker casts Dimension Door using a 4th level spell slot. She can teleport up to 500 feet, along with one willing creature. She teleports with her phantom steed over to the opposite side of the magical layer, where she will be in a better position for her next turns. After using her action in this way, the wizard cannot do anything else, such as to cast another spell right now. At this time, though, she believes that she is in a safe enough position at a distance away from the battle and away from the warlock's current attention. The next Earth Elemental needs to use its entire turn to obey the warlock's command to flee. It uses its dash action to move 60 feet away from the warlock. The wizard's owl familiar no longer is connecting its senses with the wizard. The owl uses the dodge action as a default option for defense, imposing disadvantage on incoming attack rolls and gaining advantage on dexterity saving throws. Another Earth Elemental moved to make 2 slam attacks directly at a damaged portion of the layer structure. The 2 attack rolls are 12 and 11, disappointingly missing against the armor class of 20. This portion of the structure still retains 98 of its 120 hit points. The final Earth Elemental here follows the same routine of moving forward to make 2 slam attacks, focusing at the same spot that it already has damaged. Against the armor class of 20, the 2 attack rolls are a natural 20 for a critical hit, and 11 for a miss. For the critical hit, the damage dice are doubled, producing 25 bludgeoning damage. This amount is doubled again with the Siege Monster feature for a total of 50 bludgeoning damage. This portion of the structure retains only 34 of its total 120 hit points. It could be breached very soon, as the wizard had anticipated. At the end of round 2, the siege continues to cause a problem for the warlock, defending against multiple points of the attacks in separate locations. The wizard expects that very soon she will breach through the layer. In round 3, the Guardian Naga can ascertain that one corner of the magical layer is vulnerable to be breached. The Naga moves toward this area, and it prepares a ready action to use its poisonous spittle against the first creature that might enter within its range of 60 feet. The first Earth Elemental must use its entire turn to obey the Warlock's previous command to flee. It uses its dash action to move 60 feet away from the Warlock. The Warlock Blade Burns uses her movement and the active jump spell to move closer toward the most threatened corner of the magical layer. As a bonus action, she casts Misty Step without using a spell slot, instead using her Fey-touched feat. She teleports 30 feet, still possible at the exterior of the layer, although the layer blocks inbound teleportation coming into the interior space. Blade Burns can see the Warlock in the distance. As her action, she casts the cantrip Eldritch Blast, sending 3 beams of force at the wizard at the maximum range of 120 feet. The 3 attack rolls are 27, 24, and 21, all hitting against the wizard armor class of 15 and too high to be blocked by a shield spell. The 3 hits in total cause 30 force damage, including the damage bonus of the Warlock's agonizing blast invocation. Furthermore, the repelling blast invocation pushes the wizard off her phantom steed and 30 feet away. In this case, I am allowing for the wizard to land on her feet without being knocked prone or without any falling damage. You could interpret and apply the rules differently. The wizard now retains only 26 of her total 56 hit points. The Warlock Blade Burns commands the Fiendish Spirit to attack the wizard. The Fiendish Spirit flies closer toward this opponent, and it makes its 3 fiery strike attacks. The attack rolls are 14, 23, and 21. 2 of the attacks hit against the armor class of 15, and they are too high to be blocked by the shield spell. With the first instance of the fire damage, the wizard uses her reaction to cast Absorb Elements, reducing all fire damage by half until the start of her next turn. In total, the 2 fiery strikes produce 31 fire damage, reduced by half with the Absorb Elements down to 15 damage. The Evoker Wizard, Evoker, retains only 11 of her total 56 hit points. She will not survive another round of this combat. In this case, the wizard accepts that she made a mistake with this battle. She can command her phantom steed to dash away into safety and then use another dimension door to escape. At this point, I am interpreting that the 4 earth elementals falter without the guidance of the wizard who summoned them. They hesitate with their actions, and meanwhile the warlock and the fiendish spirit manage to persuade the earth elementals to abandon the attack until eventually they vanish and return to their home in the elemental plane of earth. Now in hiding, the wizard contemplates what to do next. The magical lair is beyond her reach at this time. Many other options are still available for her. The farmers were greatly concerned during this event, but now they are overjoyed and convinced that the warlock Belade Burns will protect them. Perhaps the warlock's fearsome yet respectable powers could rival the Spellsword Academy. The farmers feel confident that indeed they made a wise choice to abandon their prior homes and their relationship with producing the food supply for the Spellsword Academy, instead now starting a new life here with the warlock. At a distance, unknown to anyone else here, the Soul Knife rogue Gemma Brand has been observing everything that has happened. She was following the warlock for quite some time now, because of her concern that the warlock could be abusing ancient draconic powers that the Soul Knife rogue has sworn to protect. Gemma Brand understands that the warlock is creating a base of power, not only with the magical lair, but also with a growing community of supporters, working toward rivaling and possibly defeating the Spellsword Academy. As long as the warlock will not abuse ancient draconic powers, then these activities are outside the rogue's concerns for now. Inside the magical lair, the warlock Belade Burns feels the presence of her fiend patron intruding into her thoughts. The Archfiend urges for the warlock to proceed with the plan of an attack at the Spellsword Academy, as the warlock agreed to do with her current fiendish contract. The warlock has delayed long enough with her preparations, and the attack will need to occur as soon as possible. Belade Burns insists that all of her preparations genuinely have been working toward this goal. The fiendish contract allows for her to use her free will as long as she genuinely is working toward the attack at the Spellsword Academy. Although the warlock still could invest in more preparations, she does recognize that she should move into action soon. Before traveling out to the Spellsword Academy for the attack, Belade Burns wants to repair and restore her magical lair. She learns that she magically can repair all damage to the lair once per day. With this procedure, though, the lair returns to its original condition of when it first was created. Any new modifications or additional objects in here will be destroyed. This restriction does not pose any problem right now. In the future, though, the warlock will use her demi-plane spell to create a safe demi-plane for all specialty items that she will want to preserve apart from her lair. The warlock creates the demi-plane now, using her Mystic Arcanum 8th level spell slot. She models her personal demi-plane in the style of the Archive, where she invested countless hours years ago as a young student at the Spellsword Academy. Inside the demi-plane, the warlock remembers her time as a student at the Spellsword Academy. In particular, she remembers about the event that led to her expulsion from the academy. One fateful day, she accessed into a secret underground archive where she read a few pages of the ancient tome of the original academy founder. She learned that long ago, the academy founder became aware of the true name of the Archfiend, who happens to be the warlock's current patron. The true name is written in only one place that so far never has been found. Anyone who knows the true name of the Archfiend will know the only single way to defeat the Archfiend, who otherwise is immortal. Belade Burns decides to cast Contact Other Plane as a ritual spell. Instead of contacting with her fiend patron, though, Belade Burns attempts to contact the spirit of the original academy founder. In order to withstand the mental demands of this spell, the warlock must roll an intelligence saving throw. A roll of 16 succeeds, and the spell goes into effect without causing any psychic damage or the incapacitated condition. Belade Burns sees an image of the original academy founder. She now can ask 5 questions with a yes or no answer. First, she asks if the academy founder wrote the true name of the Archfiend in any place currently within the mortal world. The answer is yes. Second, she asks if the written name can be found within the Spellsword Academy. Again, the answer is yes. Third, she asks if the written name can be found inside the secret underground archive. This time the answer is no. Fourth, she asks if the name can be found inside any other building at the academy. Again, the answer is no. Fifth and finally, she asks if the written name of the Archfiend can be found at the academy founder's statue at the center of the academy campus. The answer is yes. The image fades and the spell ends. Ballet Burns remembers well about the statue of the Academy founder, forever standing at the central area of the Spellsword Academy. She will be there again soon. Our story will continue with Nemesis Battles. For now, in the comment section, please share your ideas and suggestions about what could have happened differently and what could happen next. As always, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.